Hey everyone, welcome to the video. I'll be discussing something a little unorthodox compared to what I usually discuss. I've been doing that a lot here lately. I'm going to be taking a look at Tesla. There's a lot of people that have been asking me questions about Tesla. What do I think it's doing? Do I think it's going to stop? Is it just going to keep on going? This looks like Bitcoin 2017. All of these different things. And so I figured that it would probably make sense just to throw this all into one simple and easy to understand video. But before I get started, as you all know, this is definitely not financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. I'm just giving my opinion on the market here, and you're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. Okay, and before I go into the chart, I also for anybody that's new that hasn't seen any of my videos before, I just want to give a disclaimer ahead of time that I do spend a lot of time looking at market geometry. I spend a lot of time looking at Elliott waves and using Fibonacci to kind of determine where exits and entries and all of that kind of fall in line. So let's go ahead and go ahead and take a look and see what my current count is here on Tesla. And I'm looking at the logarithmic chart. I do believe that I can, get a lot more subdivision and just see this a lot more clearly on a logarithmic chart. Because if you go to a linear chart, it's very, very hard to count any of this. So a couple things here, I'm looking at logarithmic. So if you're an Elliott wave trader, if you're looking at wave one and then wave two and then comparing what my projected wave three is here, realize that this is on logarithmic and wave three is definitely going to extend, much beyond what wave one is projected to be at. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at this on a logarithmic scale, because we've had an exponential price increase over the last few weeks here. So I don't want to get caught in the weeds too much on the rules of wave three of an Elliott wave. So let's just go ahead and take a real quick look at this. What I've dug out here at the very beginning is, a nice sort of, leading diagonal here that we have into our first wave of this move. And then we've got our pullback. So this is our wave two. And then I see a nice impulse here into, basically wave three of this move. And then we have a pullback and then a nice 5-wave pattern into our wave three. This is wave three of the first wave, okay? So this was wave one of the first wave two of the first wave, move into wave three of the first wave, and then we do a correction to wave four of the first wave, and then we completed wave five. In my estimations, we completed wave five in June of 2017. This is where I am saying that that Tesla has reached its peak for the first wave. And then we started a significant 23.6% on a logarithmic scale retrace on this, and we pulled back to about $180. So that was a nice pullback on that from a price point of $390 down to $180. That was a significant pullback. And if you look at that on a linear scale, you're basically talking about a 50% pullback, and that's what we want to see on a wave two. So that was good. That was a nice, healthy pullback. Now we're ripping to the upside, and honestly, for a wave three, this is what you want to see. You want to see a nice, healthy move to the upside. As you can see here, I do have my alert set on $480, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on that for a pullback, if we do come back down to that point. So I've talked a lot about this first wave and then coming back down here in a second wave. So I'm going to drill in to a daily time frame and kind of take a look and see what we're looking at right here. And again, looking at a log scale, came back down here to 180, just above $180. Actually, it went all the way down as low as 177. So that's good. Now what we're looking at a nice, first wave, come back to the second wave. We're in a third wave or a fifth wave. I haven't really decided as far as the subdivision goes because it's pretty parabolic at the moment, and so it's going to be really difficult calling tops on this. But for a wave 3, it would be very, perfect for this to come all the way up to $850. I think it's possible for that to happen. And no, I'm not buying Tesla here because this is too unsustainable. And when it does pull back, it's likely going to be pretty significant. Um, in my opinion, this is a lot of short squeezes that are going on at this point, because when Tesla broke 400, everybody was like, okay, well at 420, that's where we're going to short, and people are just constantly trying to short Tesla over and over and over, and they're getting killed every single time. And you've got a lot of people that are getting squeezed out of their positions, which is what is fueling, in my opinion, this exponential rise. On the daily, 21 exponential has been holding pretty strong, and we're trading well away from the 21 exponential on the daily, which is all the way down here at $554 or so. Actually, it's at 551.75 at the moment. And we're trading almost $200 above that. All right, so I'm interested to see what happens, over the next couple days. And actually, if we are in the fourth wave of this three-wave pattern, so basically in a four of this larger third, we're going to see another push up. We're likely going to see another push up. But what I want to see happening, and moving down to a 4-hour time frame here, what I want to see start to happen, and actually I would love to see this be the top here. If we can overtake that, then I'll reevaluate. But what I'd like to see is something a little bit like this, to see us consolidate here for just a little bit. If we do end up consolidating here, more than likely we are going to make that push up to $850. And at that point, I'm interested to see the reaction there, because I think it would be potentially a good place for us to start a pivot to the downside. Now, we're talking like $140 above where we currently are. A lot has to happen between now and then. I just drew something out that doesn't exist yet, and I am not a prophet. I can't see the future, but what I can sense is that we are nearing the end of our fifth wave here of the third. So, again, when I talk about fifth of the third, basically what I'm saying is from down here, we've got a nice one, we've got a two, and then, working on our three, haven't really decided if this is the three and this is the four, and then we are putting in a seriously extended fifth. That is definitely something to keep in mind. But I'm more inclined to say that we did the three up here, and that this is the four, and now we're putting in the fifth. This is a little more realistic. One way or another, it does lead us to higher prices. It does lead us to higher prices. If it turns out that this was the third, and we won't know this until the move is done, if this is the third, this is the fourth, and we're finishing the fifth right here, it's very possible as well. Our technical target is going to be at $841. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do this. I can't really project what percentage of shorts are margin calls, or if it's all technical. I do think that there is technicality to this, and I think that there is a high percentage of margin calls that are probably occurring here, which is fueling this. And then when the bulls are satisfied with the profit, again, going all the way back down here to where we had the bottom. Let me get this from down here, even where we're at right now, that's a 300% increase. So 300%, if we go all the way up here, we're talking about almost 400%. It would be very interesting to see this overextend maybe to $900, because you have to think in terms of the dominant pivot and to where things are eventually going to top out. On a 400% increase is likely satisfactory to larger institutions that have been bullish on Tesla for a while. At some point, they are going to take profit on their position, right? Because you can't assume that the price is going to continue to rise, for days and days and days and weeks and weeks and years and years. There is going to be a pullback at some point. And the way that this is exponentially rising, it's unsustainable. Again, look at this on a weekly time frame, and let's look at a linear scale, not a logarithmic scale. This is unsustainable. There's no doubt about it. This is completely unsustainable. There's no way that this is going to continue forever. But also realize it can go on for a while longer. And again, just basing it off of technicals and technicals alone, the negative 236 extension here on a logarithmic scale is $841. Doesn't mean the price is going to stop there, right? Doesn't mean the price has to get there either. But what I can see here is that there is definite overhead resistance that is technically here at 840, $840, $900, give or take a bit here on the, on our logarithmic scale. And I would be definitely, taking a look and seeing what the reaction is here at least, and watching to see what happens at that point. From a time-based perspective, we're measuring the time it took for us to complete this one. It took about 25, 28% of the length of the one to finish this second wave. So now what are we looking at as far as completing the third wave? Obviously, we are in a bit of a parabolic time frame here. So let's go ahead and do this. We start here at the bottom of the beginning of the cycle, top of the first, down here to the second wave, and taking a look at some of these time frames. We've got our 25% of the length of the one, so basically projecting the length of the three, starting from the length of the one, measuring from the bottom of the two. 25% is going to take us all the way out here to March of 2021. So it could be. Okay, so let's just point this out. I'm going to just ignore my 4 and my 5. I just have them here just to project at a later time. But if this is going to go out a bit further, and this 5 is going to be working itself out, and if we just completed this 3 and we're going to come down for a 4, this would have a lot better geometry. This would have a lot better geometry to pick up a position, down here, assuming that we pivot up here, right? Again, our technical target is going to be up here at about $850. I would say that it is, a decent probability that we do pull back before we move up again. But this makes more sense from a geometric standpoint. I do think that we do have a little bit of consolidation up here. A nice bullish consolidation above $500 would be very nice to see that push back up to about 850. Okay, so this seems more likely for us to do that. But again, we'll just kind of wait. I just kind of wanted to voice my opinion here. Again, this is just an opinion, not financial advice. My opinion here on Tesla. I do think that we do have a little bit of a parabola going on here. More than likely, we will start to pull back, retrace, and consolidate to complete this fourth wave before we see a fifth wave, which this fifth wave would be the completion of our third wave when this does happen, and then we'll be looking for a much larger pullback, 23.6 to 38.2%, whenever we do find the top of this 3 measuring from the length of the 2. So if taking Fibonacci from the 2 to the 3, looking for a 23.6 to 38.2% retrace before we can project the completion of the fifth wave. And again, this could take years for that to occur. We have gone from 2010 to 2020. So we've taken a look basically at a decade of price action to complete 1, 2. So naturally, it's going to take us a while to complete this third wave, which obviously for bulls leads it to much higher prices. But we're still looking at a logarithmic scale. Looking at the linear scale, this does look pretty unsustainable for us to continue to move much higher than this. Although recognize that we can. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and wait for a consolidation and then a last push up. Then we'll do a retrace, and then we'll kind of mark out that price action as it comes. And for all of you that are watching, of course, if you're new, we have a free to use Discord where we talk about ideas, thoughts, all the time. We're always in there. We're talking about traditional assets. If we're talking about Forex, we're talking about cryptocurrency mostly. But I keep an eye on all of these different markets. And so if you'd like an invite to our free to use Discord, just go ahead and throw in a comment in the YouTube chat. I'll be more than happy to get an invite code out for you. And if this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, good night, and a good evening.